area zoned so you can actually do something profitably up there. You can't treat a 1 acre parcel on the North Trail the same way you treat an 8 acre parcel. You have to be able to change the density regulations. You have to be able to have more square footage of business space. You have to be able to and more density in terms of the number of apartments you're able to put on an acre. That's one of the things we wanted to see on the North Trail. I'm working on it right now. How can we create more rental housing on the North Trail? I know of 2 projects that went to Manatee because of this inflexibility that our current government has. If we don't become more flexible and we don't find a way to work together, my concern about the North Trail is we are going to get the development we don't want. We're going to have family dollar days, which are completely permissible under the current zoning regulations up and down the North Trail. We've got to figure out a way to do better than that. We've got to be flexible. We've got to find a way to come to the middle on this.
Well, you know, I don't know how much more you want to hear from these people. If you have more questions, please ask them right now.
Oh, we just need one.
I'm just wondering about the homeless. We volunteer at the library, Snobby Library, and when the library opens at 10 o'clock, they all run in and go into the restrooms and bathe and so on and so forth. So I know they have to have a place to go and everything, but I'm just wondering, also standing on the corner, seeing these signs up all the time. You know, I'm homeless, I'm hungry, I have a family to feed, and all this kind of really.
Yeah.
Is there a place that eventually the city is going to do something for a building or something where they can go and maybe sleep instead of sleeping on the streets? Or
I'll address that. Can I?
Suzanne already.
You know, I could speak to this for about an hour, but I'm going to start with, and that's a good question. What are we going to do now? This, if we can separate the philosophical and the ideological views of homelessness and the global issues to right down to what we need to do now. Certainly we have the Salvation Army and the Resurrection House and services, but they're not as comprehensive as we'd like. What's happened in the city is a critical mass of people that started congregating in 5 Points, then went to Gillespie Park. Now they're at Central Avenue across from the Salvation Army. We are now reaching a point where our city manager are meeting with all types of stakeholders, including foundations, which I've been spearheading, trying to get foundations involved in giving money towards putting caseworkers on the street. Let's start getting case management, people that know referral, people that can take the people that choose to get referred to, whether it's mental health, whether it's drug and alcohol. These people are dually diagnosed. How do you get to that? That's a call for action now. And what I want to see is if we can, and we're building a fund, that if we can continue to do this, work with the case management, get that system in place, then we will inch ever closer to hopefully perhaps a one-stop, like they have in Bradenton, the Galvano Center, which I'm going to go see shortly. I'm embarrassed to say I have not visited it. Because a lot of the systems aren't working, and Salvation Army, they're all involved in this. Coastal Behavioral, where I used to work. All of us agree that we need to do something right away, right now, because we can't tackle the whole problem like that. So, and there's a lot more I could talk about if you want to afterwards.
Kevin, I think you were the second one to respond.
Yeah, I was going to just say, it's difficult to predict what exactly is going to happen, but we all agree that something needs to happen. And I think more than anything, we just need the political will to do it. And I think we're starting to see that now. It's a concern for all of us. Me and my wife love to go downtown every weekend. And we see an increasing number of individuals who are approaching us for money. And it's a challenge for me, you know, being a pastor, the passion point of view always gives them money. But quite frankly, I don't know if that's really helping them. It's definitely maybe in the moment, but it's really not helping them in the long term. And then how many people are really honest about their need, that they really need food. So if I'm buying a store, I'll just go in and buy food. And so you know that some of the time somebody is going to use it on something else, alcohol or drugs. And so the question I have, I think the question the city needs to ask itself is how in a compassionate way do we help people become self-sufficient, those who want to become self-sufficient? And how do we, in a compassionate way, not let a portion of the homeless population, and I'm very intentional in saying a portion, negatively affect others, intimidate others, and hurt business? Because I've been some of the individuals who approach me for money have been very aggressive and almost intimidating. When I'm with my girls, it's you know, a little unsettling. I had a gentleman approach me the other day, and it was almost like a stick up. He just didn't have the gun. He was just missing the gun, and his attitude was so brash. And like, I see you have money. You know, I think I might have been in a suit that day. I see you got it, so give it up. And one lady, I had a candidate meet and greet last night, and one lady told me she gives a guy some money and says, "Here, the McDonald's right over here." Money's like, "I'm not eating at McDonald's." And it's that kind of, I like, are you getting, I'm helping you, and he doesn't want to go eat McDonald's. And so clearly there's a portion of the homeless who have no intention and no desire to be self-sufficient. I think first of all, we got to find those who really want help. And I think the street team crews are finding individuals that really want help to get on their feet. And I've met some of them. So it's a very complex, layered decision. And we just got to work on it until we find a comprehensive solution, because everybody's homeless for different reasons. And so, but anyways, it's a big part of my platform. And I think it's becoming even more prominent in my platform since I got in this race. It's kind of consumed me lately. So I want to be a part of the commission that helps find some solutions to this.
But one thing I'd like to add to the whole homeless question, and you struck a part of that about there are groups that there's a percentage that wants to remain homeless. You touched on the other ramifications. The other ramification that is never said in polite conversation is that many of us are blessed, very, very blessed. And many of us see a homeless person and we realize that in a week or 2 weeks or a month, we could be them. And it scares us to death. And what's your first reaction when you're afraid? You lash out, or you help. But there's a lash out portion of that within all of our community and every community in this country that is afraid of being homeless, and they're scared when they see the homeless. And that's going to be a big issue to overcome as part of the leadership of Sarasota, rather than sweeping it under the rug like the city of Daytona Beach did. And I think we're all pretty aware of what they did up there. If you're not, what they did is the police went up to a homeless person.
Are you timing yourself?
Yeah. Took him down to the bus station, gave him a ticket, and said, "Get out of here and don't ever come back." So I'm going to shut up at that point. But that's a key portion of this whole thing.
So,
Well said.
Did you have something to add?
Yeah, I'd like to. It's not really a question, but I've done, along with other different churches, night ministry at the county jail downtown on Main Street. According to the front office there, the sergeant that's in the front office, there's 1,100 roughly inmates in there all the time. 1,100. Over the last 6 or 7 years, I have probably talked to, I get between 4 and 6 a night, 1 night a week. I probably talked to 300 or 400 guys. We do the men and we have ladies do the ladies. There hasn't been a dozen of those 1,100 that weren't in primarily because of an addiction. You know all about it. One guy actually told me, I asked him, I said, "Do you have a place to go when you're getting out?" Then I'm going to go back in the woods and live with my girlfriend. That's what I like to do. Mentally, addictive-wise, that's prescription drugs, illegal drugs, and alcohol. And some of them are 18 and 25 years old, most of them. I talked to one young guy, had 5 children, no wife, no girlfriend, no nothing. I mean, it's crazy. That's all. I just need, and my neighbors too. I think when you see it face to face like that, it's something else.
You're right on. I just did a Bible study at the Salvation Army a couple weeks ago, and periodically, a few times a year, I go, and that's actually the only place I invite myself to speak. So I call David Sutton and says, "You ready for us to come again?" Because obviously you want to be a help to those, and I speak to those and preach to those who have addiction, and that's where they are. They are good people. They just are going to overcome something, and sometimes, you know, they're good people. They've had stress of life or a hard time, and that's where they turn to for their escape. And maybe we all do in some way. Maybe it just wasn't a drug. And so I've tried to go and help the best that I can there as a minister. Obviously, I could do even more as a commissioner, but you're right on. And so one of the things I've seen on the campaign trail is that, and I believe that Sarasota got a lot of caring people. Then there's some who maybe lack some of the compassion. And I think our fear, how many times have we seen somebody criticize something that they're actually doing? I think it's the own fear or whatever that makes you angry. And so I hope I can bring tone and give voice to the people in Sarasota who do care, so that we can help. And it's complicated. I'm going to have to leave too soon.
I know these people, candidates are very, very busy, and I had told them it would end by 11:30, probably 11:15 actually.
Well, since Kelvin took my time, can I respond?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I appreciate Kelvin getting 2 opportunities, because I think it's a good thing that we have a discussion, because one of the questions we get asked every time is about this, and I think we're beginning to coalesce as a team about this, that we like the one-stop center. But one of the things I think we can talk about in terms of political will is how do we, as citizens, go out and communicate in a way that will motivate people. And if we start talking about the hopelessness of addiction or the problems in our park, we're not communicating in a way that's going to motivate action. And so what I would like to talk about is how fiscally irresponsible it is to have the wrong solution. If you put people in jail or use the police and get sued for bum hunting, all of that costs a lot of money. There is a cheaper way to do it, and that's a one-stop center. We should train ourselves.
Okay, Susan,
We should train ourselves not to feed people on the street or in parks, and we should train each other not to do that. And then we'll use a one-stop center.
Okay, all right, good.
Everybody owns it.
Okay, all right?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I am sorry there weren't more people here, because you really offered some wonderful information, and we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I guess we wish you all good luck. We know only 2 of you will win, but anyway, good luck, and stay busy, folks. If you can stay a little bit, some of these people might want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yep.
Well, that's not a problem.
Thank you. Let me clear my heart.
Well, substance abuse, that's the problem. We don't have a real. There's a problem is we don't have real effective substance abuse.